Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the PSGL YouTube channel. Now it is the turn of the F7 League to take centre stage here for round 8 around the Hanoi Street Circuit. My name is Jake, and I hope you're all having a fantastic evening. As always, PSGL is sponsored by Brutal Democracy, an esports organisation providing £250 worth of prize money across the top 3 tiers. Now on to F7, we had a chaotic race last time out at the Autodrome Nationale in Monza as we saw Game Freaker take a superb win, followed by Jonis in second and Powdy, as consistent as ever, picking up third. To recap quickly, the rest of the points positions were picked up by Shoib, AMS, Juice, Patuka, Lars, Hulkenberger and Steph, who also got an additional point for the fastest lap. In terms of how the Drivers' Championship is shaping up heading into the second half of the season now, TNR Jonis leads away on 54 points with a 10-point advantage over Powdy, while a close battle for third is emerging with Game Freaker on 35, Tim Mats on 33 and AMS in 5th on 29. Meanwhile, in the Constructors, Racing Point hold the top spot on 76 points with a narrow 3-point lead over Mercedes, who have closed in slightly after the last race, while Williams are also not too far off on 62 points. 1 point ahead of McLaren, who got the biggest haul of points in Monza thanks mostly to Game Freaker's victory. Now coming on to our venue for tonight, this is the first ever week PSGL are racing at the Hanoi Street Circuit, and it's of course a track we've yet to witness IRL. This counterclockwise track features 23 corners, 11 to the left and 12 to the right, including a fast sweeping final sector where a good rhythm is absolutely vital to your lap. We have a 28 lap race in front of us tonight, and in a normal race a one-stop strategy from softs to mediums is likely to be the way to go, although safety cars are definitely not out of the question around the streets of Hanoi. And yeah, hopefully we're in for a great race. So let's try and pick up somebody who is quite close to starting a lap. Let's see who we've got. Okay, we've got Juice. I'm going to follow on his lap as he enters turn 1 now. Showed some very good pace last time out, Juice. Was kind of unlucky with the way the race unfolded not to do even better than they did. So definitely someone who could be in contention for the win here tonight. Obviously though, Hanoi is a much different circuit to the one we just raced at Monza. So it could be very different in terms of who's got pace around here and who hasn't. But the lap's looking pretty clean so far as he enters sector 2. And now onto this massively long back straight, much longer than the actual start-finish straight, and possibly the best opportunity for overtaking with a massive DRS zone all the way down to this left-hand hairpin, which he's going to be approaching very shortly. Brakes as late as he dares. Hits a good apex, gets a good exit as well. Bit of oversteer on exit as the Alfa Romeo tries to slip away from him. And now into this very technical, fast sweeping final sector, where it's important to hook it up as good as possible without hitting the walls. This is looking fairly smooth going so far. And now through the right-hander. Going up to turn 22 now, and then here we go, the final corner, turn 23. Very easy to chip off your front wing here, both on entry and exits, as Juice does our opening lap time of 1:33.2. And we've got King Enzo, one of the reserves for tonight, who's about to complete his first lap of the session, and he goes 4th. Game Freaker has gone into 2nd. And we've now got Jonis, who's into 2nd on a 1:34.4. And in terms of who else has we got on a lap at the moment, we've got Powdy as well. Just going to the final few corners, already had a couple of lockups on this lap, doesn't look overly comfortable, and in fact he has actually backed out of the lap. It's for Tim Mats on his first lap of the session. A bit deep on entry there, and that is going to affect his exit. He tries to hook it up for his left-hander here. avoid the wall on the exit, and now just floor it all the way down the straight and just get absolutely ready to pick your braking spot for the hairpin. You almost get sucked into thinking the straight never ends, and then all of a sudden you're at a hairpin, you've got to slam on the brakes. No such problems here for the Ferrari, who brakes pretty much precise on time. A little bit of curve on exit that will affect his momentum heading out the corner. Still, Juice has got the quickest lap time by 1.2 seconds, so that was a very good lap through on board with just then. John is second, Game Freaker third, and Osha ties in fourth. Where can Tim Max fit into this equation? He's got some traffic ahead, and I think that is causing him to understeer quite significantly in this final sector. This hasn't looked like a particularly fast lap, it has to be said, so I don't think this is going to go anywhere near the top of the timesheets. No, it's not. It's only 8th quickest. What's Vapor King up to in the Haas? It's a very tough track to master, this one. Definitely one of the most challenging street circuits out there. Also difficult to set the car up because you've got this sweeping section here where you do need a lot of aero on the car, but then you've also got quite a lot of straights where you're going to need plenty of top speed as well, so it's a difficult balancing act really. Vapor King across the line now to go second quickest, 1:34.3. Good effort, but still over a second away from what Juice managed. Still on board now is teammate Danny, who's getting ready to limber up for a lap. And does that mean his next lap time's invalidated as well? We shall see. Hopefully not. And Danny starts his lap now. Heading down into turn 1. Lot of curve there. They're starting to lose the rear end of the car there. You know, it's never good when you're turning left into a steady right-hander. But that was there. That was the car showing a lot of problems under acceleration. Maybe the curb may have had something to do with that. Still 25.9 per sector, so it's in the ballpark. But again, Danny goes deep. Oh, and now he's spun. Oh, that had the look of someone who's not entirely at one with the car and perhaps hasn't done too many laps around here. Thankfully they've avoided the wall, but that'll mean that's an end to their lap. Let's follow Tucker then in the Mercedes. Some consistent point scoring of late for the Mercedes driver. He'll need to carry all the weight tonight in terms of the constructors fight, with AMS unfortunately missing this race. Tucker's someone who's definitely got a lot of pace, but hasn't quite hooked it up into results that have seen him right at the sharp end of the field. Let's see what this lap does for him around the final corner. This is going to be a solid effort indeed. It's good enough for P3. Coreboy's actually just gone up into second place. That's a good effort from him. Have we got Shoaib on a lap, I wonder? Let's have a look at Game Freaker. Just starting a lap now. Currently in 6th. Have they improved in the first sector? No, marginally down, but to be honest with you, that first sector was very good. I think the time lost will mostly be in these other two sectors. In that first sector is only, I think, a 10th off what Juice managed, so if Game Freaker can keep that going, there's no reason at all why they shouldn't get him further up the leaderboard here. Braking now into this left-hand hairpin. Actually, I think it'll be a scene of quite a lot of overtaking over the course of a race. A little bit wide on exit. Will that cost him time? Yeah, he's not improving at the moment. And a little bit wide into there as well. So, a couple of little mistakes in there. See what Game Freaker can do around his final sector of the lap. pretty well hooked up to that point, but again there was a bit of understeer creeping into the car. That's a pattern we're seeing on a few of the cars already, I think. Freaker goes round the final corner. This is definitely going to be an improvement though. Found a lot of time in that final sector, so definitely hooked it up nicer than before. And that's good enough for second place right now. See what Powdy's up to at the moment. 10th quicker in sector 1. Of course, podium finisher last time out at Monza. And finds himself in championship contention despite not always really hooking it up during qualifying. This he admitted after the race last week has been his Achilles heel this season. And he's improving on his lap, but it's not by a significant amount of time. As Juice lowers the benchmark further, does a 1:33.0. That's an incredible lap time. King Enzo has gone up into third. Howdy currently only 13th place. It's definitely going to be an improvement on that. It's actually good enough for 6th. Howdy finds a lot of time in that final sector and climbs up into the top 6. Jonas is also about to improve, but only up 1 place, so to 7th. No-show tyres has invalidated their lap, so they won't be improving. Let's follow Hulkenberger on their latest lap. Decent first, that's much better first sector than they'd done previously. Still a little way off the best we've seen through the first sector. Now it's just all about trying to hook it up as early as you can in the throttle. I think there was a little bit of leeway there, given maybe still getting to grips with certain parts of this racetrack. But nevertheless, now it's just foot hard to the floor. And again, get ready to pick the braking spot. The exit out of this hairpin, I think, is more crucial than the entry. And that was actually a very nice entry and exit. Now up to our second split time. What we're looking at now. Yep, Hulkenberger found a bit more time. So if we keep that going, that's going to put him right in there, probably amongst Powdy and Jonas in the top 7. This looks like a nice final sector as well. A little bit wide there, but it's all about bit of lag there actually. We're all about hooking it up now through the final corner. And indeed it's enough for 9th, 34.4. We got Rowan now in the final sector of the lap. Currently just outside the top 10, but he is improving. This is going to comfortably put Rowan inside the top 10. It's good enough for the front row of the grid. Found some incredible lap time in that final sector and does a 33.6 to pop it onto the front row of the grid alongside Juice. Let's see if Danny's invalidated his lap, unfortunately. What's Shoaib up to? Shoaib across the line at 37.2. Not really on the pace at the moment. I was about to see if Tucker on a lap, but that's quite a wide entry point into turn 1. See if he can recover it through the rest of the sector. We'll see if it's a personal best across the first split time. It is actually, found a quarter of a second, so cleared the line, not as bad as I first thought. Oh, but that's too deep into the first part of the chicane, and as a result he had no choice but to cut the second part. So that's an end to that lap. There won't be any improvement there for now. Still got 3.5 minutes to go. Well, most drivers now in the pits, gearing up for their final run. Can anyone prevent Juice from taking pole position here? He's looked pretty dominant throughout this session, initially setting a 33.2 before lowering it to a 33 dead. Drivers are definitely finding more time though the more the track ramps up, particularly around that final sector. Might be a case of just finding their rhythm. So we shall see. We've got Tim Matz who's just started a lap, so we'll follow the Ferrari driver around. Just going up to the end of the first sector, a tenth up on what they've done previously, but it's still roughly 8 tenths away from the fastest first sector, so Still more time for Matt to find during that first sector. For someone who's currently 4th in the championship, this isn't the qualifying session he would have been hoping for. His teammate Norris is currently just above him. Although that's just his teammate for tonight. He is a reserve. Usually Marvin would be his teammate, but unfortunately cannot race this evening. And he's found a bit more time in the middle sector, but it's still not the sort of lap time he would want to find. I get the feeling on full tanks of fuel this is going to be an incredibly frustrating final sector to drive. Tim Max goes around the final corner. This isn't going to do a lot for him, if I'm being completely honest. It's a 35.9, he stays 13th, and that's going to be it for him. He's already backed out the next lap, so 35.9 is as good as it's going to get for him. Got Patuka now, who has gone for a second lap on the tyres, and he's currently half a second up, so looking fairly good. We do have that's Hulkenberger in the far sector. I've got to say he did very well there to keep as well out the way as he could. It's not the easiest place to be struggling. I think he was low on fuel there, but he kept as well out the way as he possibly could. Patuka currently in 6th. This could be good enough for the front row if he's nailed this final sector. Patuka across the line, that's just missed out. He's only good enough for 3rd at the moment. And we've got Game Freaker, who's just starting his lap behind. Hulkenberger's session is over, so he'll now, well, I don't know if he'll be hoping to stay in top 10. Maybe he wants to drop outside the top 10, so he's got freedom of tyre choice at the start of the race. But what can his teammate do here? Currently in 4th. There's definitely an opportunity there to get on the front row, but if anyone could take pole position off Juice, I think I'd be quite surprised at this stage. Game Freaker heading onto the long back straight. The other DRS zone is not actually on the start-finish straight. It's actually on the actually towards the end of the sector 1. It's that straight just after the turn 3, I believe it is. So it's actually a better straight to have the DRS, because the start-finish straight isn't really an ideal overtaking spot. Game Freaker is a quarter of a second up on what they've done previously, so if Game Freaker can keep this going to the end of a lap, this should pop him onto the front row. We shall see. Checker flag is out. You can complete laps if you're on them. Everyone other than Hulkenberger and Tim Matz has the opportunity to improve now. I think Patuka as well might be coming into the pits as well, so everyone apart from those 3 is on a lap and trying to improve. Game Freaker does go onto the front row. Can anyone take that away from him? Let's follow Juice in fact first to see if he can actually break into the 132s. Oh, he's invalidated, so he won't be improving. We've got Danny here on a lap. Jonas has actually just moved up into 3rd. I don't think Danny's going to be doing a lap, so let's actually just focus our attention elsewhere to what Powdy's doing. He's on a personal best. Callboy will not be improving. Vapor King won't be improving as well. Enzo has finished his session. He's in 6th. Powdy's invalidated, so that's it for him. What about Norris? He improves but stays 12. Shoaib, I think, is the only one left, and he's definitely not on a lap, judging by that. So I think that's it for the end of qualifying. Juice takes pole by half a second. Frankly, astonishing qualifying effort from him there. Game Freaker, the winner last time out, joins him on the front row. Our championship leader, Jonas, is in 3rd, with Rowan in 4th. We've got Patuka in 5th, King Enzo in 6th, Callboy 7th, Powdy 8th, Vapor King in 9th, and Hulkenberger, despite retiring while he was in 10th quite a while ago now, stays in 10th. There you go, as a rundown of the grid there. fairly close behind Juice, but if he continues that pace into the race, he's going to be very tough to stop. Anosha Ties qualifies 11th. We've got Norris in 12th. We've got Tim Matz in 13th, Shoib in 14th, and Danny in 15th with a quite memorable lap time of 2 minutes 15, which was just the 42 seconds off pole, so not the representative time he would have been looking for. Track looking very overcast for the race, it has to be said. Definitely much different to the conditions we had in qualifying. Don't suspect there'll be any rain forecast, certainly not heard anything mentioned about it. But we shall see, of course. We have 28 laps of this circuit. Soft to medium is definitely doable. Softs can last up to 12 laps, mediums up to 16, so as long as you manage your tyres well, the one stop is possible. Safety car is quite likely around here because of the nature of the track, and if there is a safety car, it's likely that that one stop strategy may change. We're almost ready to go here, round 8 of the PSGL F7 League here at the Hanoi Street Circuit. We'll see what tyres those outside the top 10 have opted for as we get ready to go on the outlap now. Right, so we've actually got some interesting strategies outside top 10. We've got Inertia Ties, Shoib and Danny all on the hard compound tyre, while the two Ferraris have opted for the mediums, so maybe certain drivers wouldn't expecting that the hard tyres will last a lot better than the mediums around here. Of course, those in the top 10 are locked in on the tyres that they qualified on, which is a soft tyre in all their cases. And that's just up to the drivers to get the right temperature into the tyres before we get underway here. Juice leading them away, of course. His pacing qualifying looked absolutely formidable. But we know some of the drivers behind him, Game Freaker, Jonas, you know, they've been very successful this season, and they'll be keen to do something about that. We expect a lot of contacts against the wall. We saw drivers struggle throughout qualifying. The first few corners here, it's going to be an adventure to see how cars deal with a race start. It's a very unusual start to the lap round here, and it's prone to perhaps cars trying to squeeze into places they just aren't able to go. Yeah, although I said soft mediums is doable, a lot of drivers may be thinking hard tyre to the soft tyre is a better strategy long term. Less tyre management, of course. Of course, this is one of only a few counterclockwise tracks on the entire calendar, along with Interlagos and Austin. So very unique in that respect. But despite that, there is still more right-hand turns than left-hand turns, which is quite unusual for a counterclockwise track. The drivers now lining up on the grid. 15 of them tonight, and soon we'll be underway for round 8. We are getting into the second half of the season now. This is the start of the Asia Tour, if you like, of the PSGL season. We've got Japan and China to come after this, but all eyes are going to be on those 5 lights here at Hanoi. 28 laps ahead of us. Juice on pole, Game Freaker in second. Who's going to be leading going down into turn 1? We shall see. Right, the lights are illuminating, and when they go out, let battle commence here at Hanoi. It looks like a fairly good start from Juice. Looks like he's got away very nicely there. Looks like he'll keep the lead quite comfortably. Game Freaker slots in behind. We've got Jonas who's trying to make a move for second place, but there's not enough room there. Game Freaker now trying to hold off Jonas, who's trying to sneak a look up the inside, but that's a space that's always going to disappear. Oh, we've got a car into the wall. I think that's Vapor King. Oh no, I think he avoided the wall. It looked briefly from the angle I saw that Vapor King was about to go into the wall, but he must have avoided it. But Game Freaker up to stays in second. Jonas is now looking at it. We've got King Enzo, who's got a penalty, and Jonas, there was slight contact between the pair of them there. And thankfully managed to just get out of throttle with two Mercedes lying astern. We've got Cowboy, who's dropped to the back. I wonder, has he collected damage? I believe he has. So Cowboy will have to return to the pits, unfortunately. That hasn't worked out well for him. But Jonas is now going past Game Freaker. So Jonas is up to second, past the McLaren. Oh, and Rowan very nearly hits into the back of him under braking. That hairpin is such a domino effect, if you like, of cars slowing down, and it's so easy just to run into the back of the car in front. We've got more position swapping behind, but Juice has got the start he wants, and Jonas has also got the start he wanted, moving up a place into second place. Danny is up into 8th place. If I'm not right in saying, that's a position gain of 7. What a start from Danny. And hopefully there's no one else with damage other than Cowboy. We complete lap 1 now. And we can see further behind, I think that's Powdy, who is all over the back of Danny. Is he going to have a look into turn 1? Yes, he is. Oh, he brakes very late, and Danny actually almost concedes the place, if you like. I think now he decided not to fight it. Of course, some very different strategies with the tyres that they're on. Enosha Tyres has also pitted, so Enosha Tyres collected damage as well in that first corner mayhem, which is a real shame for him. Let's look further up the field then. We've got Rowan still right on the back of Game Freaker, and the two Mercedes very close together as well, with Vapor King right on the back of them as well. So a good battle here, engaging for fourth down, well, third down to 7th, if you like, and then there's quite a gap behind 8th place man Powdy. So the top 7 have definitely pulled away here. What can Jonas do about the race leader? Juice at the moment looks quite comfortable out in front. This final sector will be a real test, as I mentioned before, on heavy fuel, so these drivers will have to keep their wits about them. And Vapor King's looking like he wants to try and make a move on King Enzo, one of the reserves for tonight. Danny, unfortunately for him, has already picked up a penalty, and we're only on lap 2. Well, the end of lap 2 for him, so that's not a good start to the race for him. Powdy's already comfortably pulled away now from the Haas driver. Oh, very wide line there from Vapor King. Well, pretty much off the track there to all intents and purposes. Interesting to see what tactic King Enzo takes here. Of course, these are not teammates, these two. I know they're in the same car, but Enzo is a reserve, so effectively he doesn't have a car assigned to him. Patuka's usual teammate is AMS, so there's no obligation really for Enzo to stick behind Patuka in that regard, and there's no reason for any team orders, so it'll be interesting to see if he does attempt to move should the opportunity present itself. At the moment he's just sticking behind the fellow Mercedes, but he's actually getting very close here to Patuka. He thinks about a look, but he wasn't quite close enough on this occasion. The corner came just a bit too quickly for his liking. We've got Game Freaker now, who's right up to the back of Jonas again, and they've dropped the AlphaTauri behind them a bit, so this is becoming a very much a lone battle here for second. Game Freaker wants that position back after he lost it at the start of the race. Is there anything that Jonas has got to pull away? Juice has built up now 2-second lead pretty much up front, so he's looking pretty solid at this stage. 38-0. No one really getting near that pace at this stage of the race. Game Freaker, ooh, just reminding the Williams that he's there, but not close enough on this occasion to make a move stick. Tucker's starting to drop back as well from Rowan, who's actually starting to close back up to this pair fighting. So Tucker gaining a little bit of a train behind. What have we got happening further down? Oh, I think Hulkenberger went for a move at turn 1 on Norris, but he overcooked it and had to recover and ultimately lost the position and lost some time as well. So Hulkenberger went for a move, didn't work out, and he's now dropped back down into P11. Once again, look at Enzo, he's right up behind Tucker here. This could be a really good opportunity to get that 5th place for Mercedes. The Mercedes against each other. Oh! What? Well, that's very clumsy indeed. He went for a move. I think he sort of swiped to the right. Might have lost control under the DRS. We've got a virtual safety car, I assume, for the damage, but King Enzo's lost his front wing there. I don't think Tucker has any damage himself, thankfully, but that could have easily been a massive crash between the two Mercs. And it almost seemed like an effect there where he kept going into his teammate, but yeah, he's lost his entire front wing, and that's going to be, well, not such a bad route back to the pits for him because of a virtual safety car, but nevertheless, his race has been majorly affected. In fact, Tucker must have picked... Oh no, the summer drivers are coming into the pits anyway. They're taking this opportunity to pit, but Tucker's decided to pit, knowing full well his teammate will need to pit as well. So Tucker obviously not caring at all about King Enzo's race in that regard. Yeah, fitting hard tyres, no damage on the car, so he's just decided, you know what, I'm pitting anyway. I don't mind if my teammate has to wait. Even if it is just a teammate in the purpose of they have the same car. We're back under green flag conditions now. The VFC has ended. Still Juice leads. Jonas and Game Freak are 2nd and 3rd. Powdy up to 4th. Vapor King also pitted, as did King Enzo, Hulkenberger. We've got Rowan who pitted. So a lot of drivers taking the opportunity to pit. I think the positions have remained roughly the same. Although, of course, King Enzo will have lost out with the fact that he obviously had to queue and then, of course, has to repair his front wing. But all that has moved Powdy up to 4th. It's interesting to make a stop so early. Obviously, I understand the VSC was out, and they obviously saw that as an opportunity to get rid of the soft tyres. But that has pretty much pinned them in, I believe, now to a 2-stop strategy. Obviously, a safety car later on in the race, and things won't be looking too bad for them, but I think the right decision at that stage was probably to stay out, but we shall see, of course. Game Freak is still right behind Jonas. These top 3 kind of getting to the point where they're in a race of their own. We've got 3 abreast going on. Further here is Danny pits. Danny's collected damage somewhere. So that would have explained why Norris and Rome were so close to him. But Danny unfortunately has had to pit with the damage that he's collected. I don't know what happened there. I assume it was contact with a wall. Whether it was in part due to contact with another driver, we don't know. But Danny pits for a new nose cone and a set of medium compound tyres. Of course, he started on hard, so in effect that's not ideal. He would have wanted to go a long way into the race on those hard tyres. Oh, here we go. Game Freakovo has got his best opportunity yet to reclaim P2 on Jonas. Let's see if he can manage it. And yes, he has, even before we get into the braking zone. Just a really good exit off the previous corner onto the DRS straight. And nothing that Williams could do as it snakes under traction there. Game Freak are back up into 2nd, so the top 3 is as it was when it started. Juice leads, Game Freak leads Jonas. And Powdy finds himself up into 4th. I think largely, again, thanks to staying out of trouble and yeah, not getting involved really in anything that was going on. But of course, it's going to be interesting how the strategies play out now. Those that decided to pit under the VSC and those that did not. And we'll see now if Game Freaker can do anything about Juice up front, because I think it's clear that he does have a little bit more pace than Jonas at this stage of the race. And let's go with the battle that's going on up ahead. We've got two Ferraris here of Norris and Tim Mats, but then we've got Patuka looking like he really wants to get past the Ferrari in front. Of course, the Ferrari will be protected by the fact that he also has DRS to use. And now Patuka here, is he going to have an opportunity to get through? Both of them are going to have DRS on the other Ferrari of Norris. So, in fact, here comes Tim Mats down the inside. There was nearly contact there between two Ferraris, but positions stay as they are for now. But it could get quite interesting down this DRS straight. This could be absolutely chaotic. Norris here is going to be under massive pressure. He won't have any DRS, of course. Oh my god, they're going 3 abreast here. Patuka's on the outside. This could get really, really risky. Patuka might get them both here. Looks like he's got the overspeed on Tim Mats as well, so into the braking zone. Patuka's made 2 positions on the 2 Ferraris, and I think Danny's had a problem because there was a yellow flag out briefly and he lost some time. But Norris loses 2 positions and Patuka gains 2, but here comes Tim Mats back at the Mercedes. Not the position you'd sort of expect an overtake to be made, and he ultimately does have to back out. For now, Patuka remains in 6th place, so he has gained those positions. But meanwhile, further down, I wonder if actually Game Freaker was the one who might have had a problem, because all of a sudden Juice has got a 4-second lead and Game Freaker's actually lost 2nd place again. So all that work Game Freaker did to get past the Williams, and he's suddenly back behind it again with all that work to do once more. Meanwhile, Juice just continues to build his lead. He's looking pretty formidable at this stage of the race, it has to be said. And now we've got Shoaib as well, who's closed onto the back of Norris. And that was like a really good exit actually from Shoaib out that last corner, so this should be quite a simple overtake for Shoaib, but indeed it is. I don't think there's enough for Norris has to fight with, and Shoaib moves up into 8th place. Decent progress on those hard tyres, of course he started on those, so things not looking that bad for Shoaib right now. He can continue to run deep into the race on those hard tyres. He could come into play for some good points later on, as we follow Game Freak around his final sector. I've already lost count, I think, of the amount of penalties Danny's got. He's already mentioned he's not particularly enjoying this track, and that's quite evident by what's happening so far in this race, as Jonas pits from 2nd place. At the end of lap 7, that's the end of lap 8 rather. That's still quite an early stop, really. I'm guessing Jonas will now go onto the hard tyres and try and get to the end, unless he's thinking of going aggressive on the strategy. Let's see. No, he's going on to hard tyres, so he will now try and get those to the end of the race. But a slightly early stop. I wonder if Game Freaker will react to that on the next lap. What's crucial now for the Williams is he comes out in clear air, and is that the case? Yes, it is actually. The way the pit lane actually rejoin, it actually really kind of lulls you into thinking that drivers are going to be ahead of you, and they're not. So that's actually worked out pretty well for Jonas. He's got Rowan in front of him, but after that he's got a lot of clear air. So that's worked out quite well for him in the end. Shoaib's now closing. He dealt with one Ferrari who's actually now pitted. He wants to now dispatch of the other one. I don't think this is anything to do with tyres. I just don't think this is a track that Tim Mats is particularly fond of, and it probably has been his weakest performance for quite a few weeks now. This track is definitely split opinion among drivers, that's for sure. As Shoaib looks down the outside into the hairpin. No way through there though. Tim Mats defends a position well, as both Juice and Game Freak are pit, so looks like they're going to follow a similar sort of strategy to what Jonas did a lap ago. But will Jonas have got the undercut on Game Freaker? Of course, he is now right behind Rowan, so that may have affected his pace a little bit. And in fact, Juice will rejoin in some lovely clear air. Or will he? Wow, has Juice lost a lot of time there? I think he has, you know. Juice only a couple of seconds ahead of Jonas now. So, wow, the undercut round here is incredibly powerful. Game Freaker's a few seconds behind Jonas, so it just shows, just by pitting that one lap early, the undercut around here is really effective. Patuka is out of the race. What's happened there? Oh, he's crashed into the wall. There's a safety car out, and that changes everything. Powdy can now pit, and that actually works out quite well for him. Powdy could pit now, and I would say that's worked out pretty well for him. Patuka is out of the race. He's gone into the wall. I struggle to see what that was actually. See if I can catch it again. That's a very strange place to crash. I don't know if there's been contact with another car or something, but that's a very strange place to hit the wall. It's not really on at the exit of a corner. It's not really on the entry, unless he's edged it into one wall and then sort of gone into another. That may have made some sense, but it's not a place you would really expect to see a car in a wall at. Anyway, safety car. Let's see what Powdy does, because yep, Powdy's straight in the pits as expected. He will, I assume, go onto hard tyres as well now. Things looking pretty good at the moment. Once again for Powdy, the timing of the safety car has not been too bad for him. Juice, of course, will retake the lead. Jonas in second, Game Freak third, Tim Max pits as well. I think that's worked out quite well for him too. Is he repairing his front wing? I looks like Ferrari had a front wing prepared for him there, so I don't know if Tim Max has collected a little bit of damage. No? Imagining things there, but yeah, onto hard tyres as you would expect. Powdy's actually gone for the mediums. I mean, to be fair, the safety car will be out for a few laps. It's going to be touch and go. Powdy could easily get those to the end, and he will be quite quick on them as well. So Powdy taking a little bit of a gamble, but yeah, it's worth a risk, I suppose. Those that pitted just before the safety car are going to be absolutely ruined their luck, because that's the drivers who it definitely hasn't worked out for. Not so much Juice, Game Freaker and Jonas, but I reckon the likes of Norris, I think Hulkenberger, Vapor King, I don't think those guys are really going to be disadvantaged through the safety car. They'll have to stop again. You almost wonder if it's worth getting a stop out of the way now if they do have any fresh hard tyres left. But this wipes out Juice's lead, of course. He had it reduced somewhat before the safety car with the undercut that Jonas did, but now it's completely gone, and he'll be under pressure to get this restart right. We'll wait to see if anyone pits on this lap before we run you through the order. Quick look at the positions gained, see the big winners and losers are. Shoib's gained 8 places. Of course, he won't have stopped yet. Tim Matz has gained 5 places, so yeah, that safety car did work out for him. Powdy up 4. Are we going to see any other drivers in the pits? That's what I'm interested to see now. The likes of Vapor King and Hulkenberger. What are they going to do? Looks like they're all carrying on by the looks of it. I don't think this is what Shoib would have wanted either. Obviously started on the hard tyres. This kind of closes everything up, which isn't good for him later on when he pits. Just shows that, you know, You can say anything's a good strategy if it works, but often a safety car can even make a good strategy go horribly wrong. So as no one's pitted, let's run you through the field. We've got Juice in the lead, started on pole and has led throughout ever since. He's looked very comfortable. But Johnny's and Game Freaker in second and third, who have been trading positions at times, have kept a reasonable tab on him. Powdy's just made his way through the field, and that safety car definitely came out at the right time for him. He's in fourth place, and he's risking the medium tyre, so we'll see how that one develops over the next 17 laps. Rowan is in fifth. We've got Shoib in sixth, who's yet to stop. Vapor King is seventh. Tim Matt's eighth. Hulkenberg in ninth, and we've got Norris in 10th, with Enzo 11th. Anosha ties 12th. Danny, who's just had a bit of a nightmare so far, and has already collected quite a few penalties, if memory serves me rightly, in 13th. And Cowboy, who had damage on the opening lap, he's in 14th. But Cowboy now at least has half a chance of getting back into this, because he didn't qualify too badly, if memory serves me correctly. I can just confirm that before we start. Yeah, Cowboy qualified 7th, so shows he's got good pace around here, and he's now got an opportunity on those medium tyres to try and do something about it. The safety car is coming in this lap. I think for drivers like Powdy and maybe Cowboy as well, they'd probably hoped it would stay out another lap, but that's not the case. And now it's up to Juice now. When he decides to go, we will be back underway. Of course, he won't really have much time to rehearse this, with this being a brand new circuit on the calendar. So this is just up to him now where he wants to go, and he's gone now. Absolutely legged it through the final corner, and he has caught Johnny snapping just a little bit. I think there's a bit of action going on further down. I think Rowan, they're looking. Oh, we've got a car in the wall. Enzo's out of the race. Enzo went into the wall at the final corner, and that's the end of his race. I don't think there was contact with another car, although I sort of saw it from a distance, so I can't exactly confirm that too well. But it doesn't look like we've got a virtual safety car or a full safety car, but that's both Mercedes out the race into the wall. Disaster for Toto Wolff. Oh, and another problem connection-wise for Danny. Oh, he's having no luck at the moment, Danny. He's unfortunately not really been able to finish any races due to issues with connecting to the game, and now he's lost connection again, so he won't be able to rejoin, unfortunately. So we are now down to 12 cars in contention now, as we've got Shoib, who's trying to get past Vapor King for P6 on hard tyres. Shoib showed some decent pace here, and he goes down the inside of the Haas into the hairpin. And the nature of a hairpin means if you get the inside line, there isn't really anywhere for the other car to go. So ultimately, Shoib makes that move stick and moves up into 6th place. What can Powdy do? He's staying pretty close to the cars in front of him. He's on the alternative strategy now in the sense of medium tyres, which should be good at this stage, but may fade towards the end somewhat. The expected life of the medium tyres is 16 laps, so you're pushing it right to the limit here. Another safety car would not have gone amiss for Powdy. A little bit surprised we didn't get one when Enzo went into the wall just after the safety car came in, but wasn't to be. And you've got Vapor King about to come back at Shoib, so it looks like Shoib had got the move stuck, but he isn't able to pull away from the Haas, as Vapor King just isn't quite close enough under braking into the chicane. Is he going to try a sneaky move up the inside here? This would be a brave move if he can make that stick. Shoib gives him the room, but ultimately just isn't enough traction on the inside of the corner. It was an interesting look though, and he's certainly looking like he wants to get that 6th place back again. No DRS yet, but he's got overtake firmly open here. Has the Haas driver. He's going to look down the inside into the hairpin. He's going to return the compliment is what he's going to do, but he's run a bit wide. He might struggle for traction on the exit, and that's going to allow Shoib to come back at him now as we go into the next right-hander, but Baber King has the move sorted. Despite Shoib's best efforts, he couldn't hold on to it. Shoib has just gone really out of rhythm there through the final sector, and that's now putting under the cars behind him, led by Tim Mas. In fact, Shoib pits. So Shoib, I wonder if Shoib... Oh, we've got a move down the inside of No Ties. Goes down the inside of Hulkenberg. There might have been a bit of contact there. I hope Hulkenberg didn't get any damage from that. It looked a bit of a opportunistic overtake, and now Hulk's under more pressure. Oh, and Hulk nearly hit the back of the Racing Point under braking and had to take avoiding action off the circuit. Drops outside the points now. Shoib goes on to mediums. That'll be his final stop of the, well, only stop of the race. Hulkenberg there ultimately losing out. This race all of a sudden looks very different on the hard tyres, because Jonas is keeping up with Juice. So Juice not having this all his own way now with swapped tyres. Not quite close enough on this occasion, but he's right there with the race leader. Definitely the most even on pace they've been for a while. Meanwhile, Zanoshi Tai is going to think about a move down the inside of Tim Mats. No, he's not. Not close enough this time into the hairpin. A lot less dramatic at the hairpin this time around. Oh, but he's going to try a little cheeky overtake down the inside of the next corner. Oh, and there's more wheel-to-wheel contact between them. Oh, more contact. This could go awfully wrong between the pair of them. But they somehow managed to get through it. A lot of wheel banging there. I think they both avoided damage, but Tim Mats was having absolutely none of that overtake. And there's a real train developing behind. And Oshitai's has got to be careful here. He's running a risk of losing his front wing if he's not careful. Is he going to try anything into turmoil? He's not quite close enough on this occasion. In fact, if anything, he's having to more worry about what's happening behind him. I think that's Hulkenberger potentially looking at a move. Oh, and Tim Mats goes wide, and Onoshitai shoves his way down the inside. Oh, Tim Mats tries to come back at him on the exit of a corner. Incredible action. But Onoshitai keeps the place. This is absolutely stunning stuff. But Tim Mats is not done yet. He's now got the DRS back on Enosha. As we head down to the next turn, and he makes the move stick and further behind. Callboy looks down the inside of Norris, but he's not quite close enough. It's incredible action. They're costing each other a ton of lap time, but you can see that neither one of them wants to give this up, and Nosha's looking increasingly frustrated at this. But surely now down this next straight, he's going to have the DRS. Surely Tim won't have anything to defend with. Oh, and there's more contact further behind us. Callboy looks to get the move done on Norris. He does do so. They're now going side by side into the hairpin. Oh, and Tim Mats is forced wide and loses another position to Callboy. I hope he didn't go into the wall there. It would have been very close. I think he's got... Oh, I don't know. I think he's got some damage, you know. Yeah, I think Tim Mats has got some damage. If he has, we're definitely going to find out during this last sector. Yeah, there's definitely some damage on that Ferrari. He's really struggling, and he's going to have to pit, I believe. Yeah. So he may not be too happy about that. May feel he was almost shoved there, but that's going to really ruin his chances of a good result here today. Meanwhile, further down at the front, we've got yellow flag in sector 3. What's that all about? Is that Shoib who we've got a problem with? Shoib picked up damage. There was a yellow flag that came out for him. Yeah, there's definitely some front wing damage on that Racing Point. So Shoib has obviously gone into the wall somewhere, and that's really going to end his chances of a good result here today. He was looking quite good to have a good stint on those mediums, but that contact against the wall was ultimately going to put him out of contention, unfortunately. Back to the battle for second place. Juice has got out the DRS zone of Jonas, and now Game Freak has closed back up to them. Powdy's dropped back on the medium tyres. I just don't think Powdy has the outright pace to keep up with the top 3 here. But I think this is far from over in terms of the battle for the top 3. These three have looked like the class of the field tonight. And a bit wide there, actually, from Jonis through that corner. That's ultimately for the penultimate turn, putting him out of kilter. And what does Game Freaker do here? He's not quite close enough going into turn one, the first of 3 DRS zones. And Oshitize is actually retired in the pit lane, so his race is over. So I wonder if he had damage as well. We're now down to just the 12, no, in fact just the 11 cars in this race. With, of course, Danny's car being a ghost, effectively. In terms of available ERS, they're both quite similar, actually. Juice has got a lot more saved ERS-wise, so he's looking very strong at the moment. Game Freaker's closer than ever. He's running out of ERS though, so he won't be able to go into overtake for the remainder of his straight. He's not quite close enough as a result under heavy braking for the hairpin. Juice has just started to up the pace, and I don't think Jonis can live with it. We've got a battle further down, as I think Tim Matz has moved past Joy, who of course is running with damage. So quite a simple overtake in the end as Matt takes P11, which effectively is P10 with Danny's car effectively just being a ghost at this point. Back to a battle for second, the closest battle we now have on the circuit. Game Freaker still can't find a way through. Juice's gap up to 2.3 seconds out front. He's looking in a very strong position to take this win. What can Game Freaker do about the second place? These two have looked so similar on pace. I'd argue Game Freaker's maybe looked slightly quicker, but can't seem to get a move done. But he's very close down this straight. If he can try and outbrake him into the chicane, no, not this time. I think he's going to try and leave it for the really effective DRS zone. Which is coming up right about now. So here we go then. He's using his overtake. He doesn't really have much of it left, but he's in a good position now. Jonis, I don't think will be able to defend this too much. He's in overtake, but he's out of ERS deployment, but it won't be enough to stop him getting alongside the Williams. Under braking, he's got the inside line. I don't think there's much the Williams can do, and Game Freaker retakes P2, where he, of course, started the race. As I said, it's so effective having the inside line for the hairpin. If you're on the outside, there's not much you can do. And Game Freaker takes second place. Now it'll be interesting to see now if he's got any answer to Juice's pace out front, and if he can actually pull away from Jonis. It looks like he was going to do that earlier on, but ultimately found himself behind the Williams just a few laps later. Juice will look to build a 3-second buffer just in case he picks up a penalty at all. It's worth doing. Vapor King is in the pits. Of course, he was on hard tyres that were quite old, so it would be expected that he would pit. Same with Hulkenberger, and they both pit, so but fair man, even Norris to an extent kind of got screwed over by the safety car, and obviously not deciding to pit at that stage. The best thing for them now, of course, is they can go into soft tyres, and they've got a good chance of battling for the fastest lap as well as picking up some minor points. Vapor King's going to rejoin in P7, Hulkenberger P8 and Norris P9. Actually no, Tim Matz is actually going to rejoin. Is Tim Matz going to rejoin ahead of him? Let's have a look. No, Tim Matz rejoins behind Hulk, but ahead of his teammate. Shoaib is down to 11th, but oh, we've got a battle further down the field. Powdy has been overtaken by Rowan. So Rowan up to 4th, Powdy down to 5th. And Powdy on us, I'm just wondering, Powdy on us, has he got damage? I think Powdy might have got some damage on the left hand side of his wing. Yeah, definitely looks like Powdy's got some damage here. Yeah, Powdy surely will be coming into the pits then. No, he's going to carry on with it. So Powdy, I think, yeah, he definitely got some damage on the left-hand side of that front wing. But he's going to continue on with it and just try and get to the end from there. Maybe deciding that he'll lose too much time by having an extra stop. So a rare mistake there from Powdy, and Rowan up into P4. And Rowan still has an outside chance of a podium here. And oh, what have I said? Once again, it looks like Game Freaker was... Oh, Game Freaker's made another mistake somewhere, but he's behind Jonas again. And he's not got any damage, so maybe he just made a mistake somewhere. So that's a real shame for Game Freaker. Every time he just looks like he's going to pull away from Jonas and just doesn't seem to work out for him. And Game Freaker just dropping back now, if anything, from the Williams in front of him. Shoaib finds himself in 10th, but I think with the damage and the fact he's got Norris just behind him, that isn't going to last too long. Oh no, because the Ferrari's got damage as well. So Norris picked up damage too. In fact, there's quite significant damage on the left-hand side of the front wing. So that's a real blow for the Ferrari. Don't know where he picked up that damage, but a lot of drivers here really struggling with the streets of Hanoi tonight. And well, it's a battle between Shoaib and Norris for the final point, but both of them have differing amounts of damage to their front wings. There's more damage on the Ferrari though, and that's quite evident to see as Shoaib starts to pull away. So Norris was looking good for maybe climbing up into the points, but that damage has really put pay to that. We've got Callboy in the pits now. Has Callboy picked up damage somewhere? Because he's only been on those mediums for 9 laps. Or has he just decided it's better to take on a set of softs? It's likely he'll only lose out to Vapor King and possibly Hulk. As Vapor King does fastest lap. No, Callboy's opted to go for the soft tyres. Powdy's at a point where he could probably think about doing the same if he wanted to. He would lose a position to Vapor King, but that's really about it. Game Freaker's pace has absolutely vanished. I don't know what's happened. Jonas has upped his pace a bit, I would say. Oh, that would explain it. You can see Game Freaker's collected damage. So Game Freaker's now got damage on the right-hand side of his front wing. It's not too bad, but it's definitely costing him, and Rowan will start to close in as long as he too doesn't have damage. I'm just going to check this out. No, Rowan's fine, so yeah, Rowan will start to close in on Game Freaker, and Game Freaker, who was looking good for second place at certain points in this race, now staring at not even being on the podium. And Game Freaker, in fact, opts to pit, so he doesn't want to carry on with that damage. What will Powdy do? Will Powdy do the same? Rowan climbs up to 3rd as a result. I'm interested to see if Powdy pits. No, Powdy carries on. He's determined to carry on despite the damage. Game Freaker, of course, going for the soft tyres, getting his front wing repaired. He should rejoin in front of Vapor King. That's the good news for him. Oh, actually, maybe not, actually, now I think about it. So he's going to rejoin in P6, Game Freaker. This very fast pit exit leads right into the middle of the second turn. And Game Freaker is in 6th place, so Vapor King up in 5th place now. It's worked out quite well for him. Well, real shame for Game Freaker. And it's really sort of interesting to see who gets the fastest lap of the race. Now, in terms of what may happen with Rowan, has just suddenly lost a lot of time. I just noticed to the car in front. I don't know what that's all about. He's definitely not got damage, from what I can see, but he must have just run wide somewhere. But yeah, Juice is looking fairly solid out front, a 3.9 second lead over Jonas, who will further extend his championship lead over Powdy. Right now, I have to say Jonas is looking fairly good in the championship. We still have, of course, 6 more rounds to go. We, of course, go to Japan next, then China. And that's kind of the Asia segment of the calendar, if you like. So we've got a couple more races to go in Asia before we move towards the Americas. And what can Game Freaker do now? In theory, he should be good enough to get fastest lap here, based on the pace we've seen in qualifying. But can he get after Vapor King on newer soft tyres? We shall see. Callboy now does the fastest lap in a race of 36.5. So Callboy has actually, for me, done a very good recovery drive after that first lap contact. And he's staring at some good solid points for Renault here. McLaren not looking too bad of a points haul themselves. It's really the Racing Point and Mercedes teams who were leading the constructors who are really suffering tonight. It's really going to allow the likes of Williams, McLaren and Renault, who are 3rd, 4th and 5th, to close in. I have to say, Juice has done an absolutely superb job out front. Really has controlled it from the moment he set foot in qualifying and did those astonishing lap times. No one's really been able to touch him this race, and he looks like the one driver who really has got to grips with this track. And we've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That's for a Ferrari, and that's for Norris, who's in the wall. So Norris recovering from another spin, got yet more damage on that Ferrari, and that's ultimately, I think, going to ensure he should get the final points, barring any late crashes, such as the way that Norris's race has gone. He's actually about to be lapped by Juice, so things really not working out for him tonight. Of course, making his debut as a reserve, it's not really the track you'd want to make your debut. It's quite a tough test. Game Freaker, meanwhile, is starting to close in. In fact, Vapor King's closing in on Powdy, who of course has some damage and is running quite old medium tyres at this stage. And then we've got Game Freaker closing in on the pair of them, who is just lighting up the timing screens here at the moment. As you can see there, Game Freaker to 36.7, so actually not done the fastest lap of the race yet, which is quite surprising. Yellow flag in sector 3. That's just one. I think that's just a Ferrari recovering to the pits at this point. The top 3 positions looking fairly set in stone right now. And we've got Norris back in the pit lane. But 4th down to 6th is definitely not safe yet. Powdy, for me, looks extremely vulnerable to both cars behind him. Game Freaker, I think, still trying desperately to get that fastest lap in a race. I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't managed to get it, if I'm honest, but here we go. Let's see him across the line what he does this time. Nope, still not. Still not enough. What that time did he do there? He's still on a 36.7, so Callboy's looking quite good for fastest lap at this stage of the race. And Vapor King now is right behind Powdy, who that damage must really be starting to affect him. I think he should be pretty safe for P6, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep either of these two cars behind him. I don't think he's going to really try to either. Powdy's quite a sensible driver, and yet... Oh, but Vapor King's gone into the wall! I don't believe it! That was like such a simple overtake for the Haas driver, and he just put too much power down on the exit of the turn and has lost it. What an unfortunate turn of events there. It was such a simple overtake. He didn't need to be so eager on the throttle, but well, that's an absolute massive blow for the Haas, and he's going to lose so many positions. By the time he gets to the pits and changes his nose, he's probably going to be down behind Shoaib, and that's a real blow. That's a lot of points that he's thrown away there. He will be gutted with that. Meanwhile, Game Freaker is right behind Powdy. He's just got to be careful here. I don't know if he'll know that Powdy has damage. You're probably able to tell by the way he's going through the corners. But here we go there. Just look at that. That was so simple with the extra tyre grip. The obviously no damage. And Game Freaker moves back up into 4th place where Vapor King should be. He'll be ruining that. I'm sure we're about to see Vapor King head to the pits. He won't be happy with himself there. Powdy was pretty much... Powdy wasn't really defending. You know, he knew obviously the situation he's in. It wasn't worth fighting. The last thing he would have expected to see Vapor King in the wall. Really plus side for Vapor King is he's got another chance to get fastest lap on even fresher soft tyres. But that's assuming, of course, that he isn't stuck in traffic. If he's lucky, he might just get out ahead of Tim here. And he has done. So that's good. He's in lots of clear air and he's got a good chance to get an extra point fastest lap hill. It won't feel like much... Oh, well, I say that he's got a good chance to get the fastest lap, but I don't think, unless it's a glitch, I don't think he's had his front wing changed. That's utterly astonishing. That's absolutely bizarre. I can't believe that's happened. I can't believe they've not changed his... I mean, literally, he has no front wing. And they haven't replaced it. Oh, he will be absolutely fuming with that as we enter the final lap of the race. Let's go on with Juice. I'm sure Tim Matz is about to get that position. We'll just check that Tim Matz gets it. No, he doesn't. Well, to be fair, Vapor King's defending this. He might have no front wing, but he doesn't want to lose 8th place. He must be so angry at the moment with what's happened. Oh, we've got Norris out the race. I think he's retired. Has he retired in the pit lane? Has he lost it on the pit straight? I'm quite interested to see this now. I think he may have lost it coming onto the pit straight. Oh, I don't think we'll know. I think that must be what happened. And we'll go on board with Juice, who's starting his last lap of the race. Not had much airtime due to the fact that he's just drove a superb race out front. There's not really been much to see from his angle, but I'm sure he'll be very happy with this. He looked incredibly quick at Monza, but things, for one reason or another, just didn't work out. But everything has fallen into place here at Hanoi, and he is going to be the first ever PSGL F7 winner at this circuit. And with that, he takes a very, very impressive win around the final few corners. Now, around the final corner for the last time, Juice is going to win the PSGL F7 race here at Hanoi. He wins comfortably. Jonas is going to take a further bigger lead in the championship with 2nd place. Rowan probably didn't feel for much of that race like he was going to get on the podium, but due to Game Freaker's damage, he takes P3. I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. Game Freaker is going to recover to 4th, and we've actually got an interesting battle here. I'm going to keep an eye on Cowboy, who hasn't got damage, versus Powdy, who has. Both of them teammates, of course. Powdy's not keen on letting him through, and it looks like Powdy's actually going to hold on to that 5th place. Oh, and Cowboy's gone into the wall and crashed out the race. I don't believe it. On the final corner of the final lap, I think in his desperate attempt to get on the throttle quickly enough to potentially grab 5th, he's lost everything on the final corner. Utterly astonishing. Cowboy, I can't believe that. Crashes literally just meters before the finishing line. Tim Matz will be unexpectedly across the line for 7th. Good recovery in the end after a bit of a nightmare race for him. Shoaib will grab 8th. Vapor King will be gutted, it's only 9th for him. And it remains to be seen, of course, whether Cowboy will at least get 10th place. Driver of the day goes to Tim Matz according to the game. That's not the driver of the day I would personally go for. For me, I'm going to let's have a quick look at the classified order once we've seen the podium, and I'll make a final decision on that. Obviously, Juice drove a fantastic race out front. Can't fault what he did out there today. I was actually, do you know what? I was actually going to give it to Cowboy, but obviously I can't now. After that, unfortunately, he does take the final point at least. I'm going to give it to Juice. I don't think you can look past that performance. He drove an absolutely superb race. Controlled it from start to finish. Even when the safety car came out, he never really looked under much threat. And ultimately controlled the race and drove an excellent one today. And if he can keep producing performances like that, it won't be his only win in F7, because he is very, very quick indeed. Fair play to Jonas doing what he needs to do in second place to extend his championship lead. But yeah, Juice is my driver of the day. I often tend to avoid giving it to the winner, but I don't think I can look past the winner on this occasion. A great, great performance. As I said, Jonas extends his championship lead with second place. We've got Rowan, who took a good podium in the end. Game Freaker will be gutted he lost out on that. Cowboy does get the fastest lap as well, so he may potentially pick up a few points despite that, but it should have been more for him, really. I think in his eagerness to get past his teammate with damage, he just lost it on traction out the final corner. Not the way he would have wanted his race to end. But yeah, that's been the round 8 of the PSGL F7 season here. If you do fancy taking part in the PlayStationGL leagues, be sure to join the PlayStationGL Discord or get in contact with one of the league admins or directors, and they'll point you in the right direction. Keep an eye out on the PSGL YouTube channel as always over the coming days for future streams. We've got the F1 leagues tomorrow, along with F2, F3, F4 and F5. So be sure to tune in for those races. I'll be back next week for round 9 of the F7 season around Suzuka. I hope you can join me then. But until then, it's good night from me. And we'll catch you on the flip side.